You can't. Hi, I'm Danni-Jo Rausch, and that is a very short but very annoying sentence I have gotten all too familiar with. I got so used to being told that I was like, is this like my slogan or something? And I'm like missing out on the joke. Okay, just kidding. But there are two reasons I got super used to that sentence, and the first being the one that the people at college know it about. You see, I almost didn't go into music. When I was in high school, getting ready to go into college, people asked me what I wanted to go for, and I said music education, and they said, you guessed it, you can't. And I was like, funny, I don't remember that part in kindergarten when people would ask me that question. I could be like, hey, yeah, when I grow up, I'm going to be a possum. They would be like, cool, watch out for cars. Just kidding, it's a little far-fetched. But in high school, I listened. I was told music wasn't a reliable career, especially since I went to a tiny school in a tiny town that didn't really care about the arts. So, I went to college for 2 years before studying at ISB for just regular education. I started with elementary education, but as COVID hit, I realized life is both too short and too long to live a life that people chose for you. And so I got my associates, changed my major to secondary ed, and then here I am, right before you on the stage. Now you may be asking yourself, Danni, why did you listen in the first place? Well, let me tell you. It's because I was super used to hearing you can't. Now, this part of my story is not one that I talk about often. In fact, this is the largest group of people to ever have heard about it, so you guys are super special. If I were to explain myself, I'd probably call myself a medical mystery. It's like I looked up random medical things that you can be diagnosed with, and I just like picked a couple and called it good. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And sometimes it feels like everyone else is playing regular cards, and I was dealt a deck of Uno, and so I'm just like, what's going on? It's okay, you can laugh at that. Ever since I was born, I have been dealing with medical problems. I'm immunocompromised, I have asthma, a list of allergies that grow every year. Side note, did you know you can be allergic to cockroaches? I didn't, until I was told that. It was super weird. I have damaged kidneys. Those were the main things that controlled my childhood. I was a rebellious kid for most of my young life. And guess what's crazy? I was bullied for my medical problems. I had to have water on me at all times because of the damaged kidneys, and kids would take the water bottles and throw them away or break them. For the same reason, I was allowed to go to the restroom whenever I needed, and people would say that I peed myself and embarrass me in front of all my friends. I would get sick constantly with some kind of illness or double earaches or something, and I missed school for a long time, and it just kind of made me feel like I didn't fit in. So between the bullying and missing classes, I decided to not tell people about my medical problems unless I really, really trusted them. Now, I figured eventually everything would go away, and it wouldn't be a problem because doctors kind of just thought I would grow out of all of that. Well, not only were they wrong, they were super wrong. I have been getting allergy shots since 4th grade, and I get told I have more allergies every time I get tested. My asthma got worse, but the truly upsetting part of the story started in 8th grade. I started noticing changes, and not the typical ones that happen in middle school. I started to hurt all over for no reason. I was tired all the time. Sometimes it was even hard to walk. My joints popped every time I stood up, and more. So I started a multiple year-long journey to try to figure out what was wrong with me. Blood tests, x-rays, more doctors on top of the ones I already had. MRIs, you name it, I had it. And for a while, each doctor gave a different diagnosis. Then finally, multiple doctors agreed on fibromyalgia and JRA. But they didn't think those were the only things going on, so I went to see another doctor who referred me to a rheumatologist. That doctor confirmed the first two and then told me I had scoliosis and something called ankylosing spondylitis. It's a fun word, it's not a dinosaur. You can laugh. He figured that no one tested me for this because it's usually found in middle-aged men, and that didn't really fit my demographic as I was a young teenage girl. Now that I had all of these diagnoses, I've been trying to figure out the right treatments ever since, because I'm not the typical person to have these problems. I've tried it all, and I've had injections, diets, self-injections, diets, physical therapy, yoga, tests, infusions. I've tried it all, and all of those things don't really bother me because, like I said, I've had medical problems my whole life, and I've been taking medicine since before I can remember. But the worst part was when they started telling me what I couldn't do. I couldn't ride horses anymore, and I was doing that competitively at the time. I couldn't run or do high-impact exercise like dance. I couldn't play tuba or sousaphone anymore because they're too heavy. I should consider not being in theater because it takes too much energy. I couldn't hike because it was way too exerting. You can't, you can't, you can't. But you know what? I finally said, what makes life worth living if I'm not doing what makes me feel alive? I dance whenever I can because it's my favorite way to exercise and one of my favorite ways to express myself. One of my two main instruments in school is tuba. I was involved in theater all through high school, and I'm trying to get involved again. I hike whenever I can. I do those things because I don't want to look back and realize I lived a life the safe way and stop doing all the things I love. And that's the same with music. Music helps me get through all of those obstacles. Music is there for me no matter what I'm going through. And I'm so glad in every instance I told you about, I did what I wanted to do and what I knew would make me happy. So in life, when people tell you you can't, look at them, smile, and say, I can, and I will, and then prove them wrong.